No. It's a bunch of people do. It's like it's too much. It's like
Zone
too
be
much.
on you.
No, I ain't even zone, dude. It's like other people do. It's like too much
Oh, we
shit.
live now. Zone knows.
Yeah,
We were saying that zone be on you to go
that's
live.
funny as hell, dude. That's funny as shit.
Mhm.
Zone popped up. Hold on a second. Okay, all right. Let me. All right, welcome everyone to episode. Oh shit, dude, Jamal dropped right now as I intro it. Okay, he'll be back. Welcome to episode 880. Why is the? Hold on one second, you guys. There we go. I need that in. Yeah, I need it in my headphones like that right there. All right, and then there's Jamal. All right, yo,
All
you
right.
back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. All right. Welcome everyone to episode 889 of the Black Brain Trust. This is EV Automotive and Micromobility Talk, 2024 industry analysis and future trends. I got Kita Auto, Jamal with me. What up, bro?
Not much, man. What's up with you, man? You doing all right?
Man, we're back at it, bro. We've been on some little, well, the Brain Trust's been on some hiatus stuff. You've been hella active over.
I don't know if hella is
You've been more active than we have. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, I've been doing live streams, which doesn't take a lot of effort. It's just why I
Well,
go live,
I'm
right?
saying active though. I mean, you getting it in on the pit. Was it Pit Skills and LFM,
Yes.
right? So we got two leagues cracking. We're in the points, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. We are.
Yeah, that's what I mean, dude. There's a movement going on, man. It may not have just been over here, but at least not for the time being. But sometimes it's good for us to take a hiatus. But trust and believe me, Jamal's been putting in work over on the Kia Auto channel. So if you guys have not subscribed to that channel, please head on over there. Jamal, if you want to drop the link, I think you should be able to.
Yeah, for sure. I got you.
Okay. All right. So, just wanted to give you guys just a quick update. What's been going on? Yeah, we've been quiet over here. Jamal's been active over there. I've been over there. Me and Zone. What up, Zone? You know what I'm saying? Coaching the bro up, encouraging him, get these points, right?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Getting these points,
Right.
you know. But yeah. Let me do this, man. We got the talking. Let me do this first of all. We got a pleasantries are in order, right? We got to welcome everyone, and then let's do a quick sound check, bro. Uh, let's- Wait, hold on one second. If all right, so what we're gonna ask that you guys do is, as you wait, you guys make your way on in. If you just give us a little 1, 2, 3 in the chat, that'll let us know that the sound and audio is coming through okay. But outside of that, we're going to assume that it is. I can see the little bubble things lighting up and what have you. So, okay, with that being said, man, we're going to get into this first article here, bro.
All right, bet. All right.
Yeah, let's pull it up here.
Cool.
Yeah, all right. So, what? I forgot. I got to do the, here we go. All right. This is from Ars Technica. Biden set to levy 100% taxes on Chinese EVs this week. Whew. Both the U.S. and EU are deeply concerned about heavily subsidized Chinese OEMs. President Joe Biden is expected to levy new 100% tariffs targeted at specific Chinese industries, including electric vehicles, on Tuesday. The announcement follows growing calls from automakers, unions, and bipartisan efforts in Congress to address the problem of China unfairly subsidizing its own industries to undermine foreign competitors. Talk about irony. Why are Chinese EVs so cheap? The Chinese government has been giving its green industries heavy direct subsidies for some time now, far in excess of those handed out by U.S. or European governments. Now, let me stop right there. Right? If the Chinese are issuing subsidies based on their green energy directives, and those aren't in alignment with, say, like those of the U.S. or the European governments, then I guess they have the right to do that. What do you think?
Well, I mean, generally speaking, like companies of that particular country, they always put in whatever parameters they want to put in. They just see if other countries will follow suit.
Hmm.
So I mean, they're not doing nothing different, I guess, when it comes to those.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of don't really see that either. When you have countries that have, like, say, like a strategic advantage in a certain industry, they tend to play by their own rules to like ensure that advantage. And I don't see the Chinese doing anything different in that regard. Oh shit! Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. Yeah, and I don't see them doing anything different in that regard, right?
Yeah, I agree, man. That add to the right though is crazy as hell. They're putting deodorant on with some hairy armpits. I think that's
Dude,
weird. But go
that's
ahead. But
yeah,
go
that's
ahead.
crazy. I
Continue.
don't know what that ad is about. For EV makers like BYD, this has meant billions of dollars a year in addition to the consumer facing tax benefit for car buyers, similar to how EV sellers are incentivized in the US. And for those of you guys that may not know this, when you buy an EV currently, right now, let's say it's from Tesla, Kia, whoever's making one, right? Usually what they'll do is there's like the sticker price, and then there is the federal tax rebates you get. There's going to be the state rebates you get, and then there's any local rebates you get. There's like a host of rebate packages that like reduce the price down. Now, the difference between this and a Chinese EV is, for example, a Chinese EV, there's EVs that they can bring it to the market right now at 10K. I'm talking no rebates, right? So
Okay.
the problem is that with other automotive manufacturers, the Chinese can beat them from A to Z, right? Soup to nuts, they can beat them with regards to pricing electric vehicles because the vehicles themselves are DOT standard,
Hmm.
and because they have a lock on the lithium ion markets and stuff like that, you can't they don't have to outsource battery manufacturing.
Okay. Okay.
They make it. Right, they do everything. See, so the thing is that coming directly from them, they can outprice the market no matter what market they're dealing with.
But I guess that with that being said, with Chinese and America not having really the best of relationships,
Hmm.
I guess that's why we don't see too many Chinese based inventions over here, right?
Well, I mean, in terms of we got to go back to 2018. Trump had essentially instituted a blockade on EVs because EVs from China were slated to come to the U.S. in 2018. He put a blockade on that. Now, essentially, what's happening here, we're going to go ahead and read. We're going to continue reading on to the article, but essentially, what's happening here is by doing this tariff thing, Biden is essentially opening the door for Chinese EVs.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
initially there was a blockade.
Hmm.
There was just straight up part of the tariffs was like they don't come here, right?
Hmm.
What the Chinese did was essentially set up manufacturing plants in Mexico. See, so now they've made it more strategic. The cars are built in such a way in Mexico that the transport cost to bring them into the U.S. market, you're just coming across the border,
Hmm.
right? So that's how they are able to build them and sell them at that cost. And so this whole bill here, we're going to go into it some more here, but this whole bill is to essentially put the kibosh on that because we got some articles coming up after this about Tesla's issues, and that's going to shed light on everything that's going on right now. Brands like BYD have concentrated on making their cars cheaper to build, only using one windshield wiper instead of two, for example, but also through vertical integration. Other than Tesla, automakers in the US, Europe, Japan, and Korea instead rely heavily on multiple tiers of suppliers, most of whom supply parts to more than one automaker. Chinese EV makers have also embraced technology to a degree still not matched by other brands, with screens stretching across entire dashboards and online connected services, plus the associated government tracking. We'll leave that there for right now. that are the anathema to many arts readers. Indeed, in February, the U.S. Department of Commerce opened an investigation into whether imported Chinese connected cars pose a national security threat. The Chinese government has repeatedly restricted the places that Tesla drivers are allowed to take their cars as it considers them as a threat to its own security. Now, that is pretty fucking ironic, right? Because see, on the U.S. side of things, you had like Huawei was like one of the biggest companies. Xiaomi was another company. Oh shit! Hold on one second here. Give me 1 second, bro. Give me 1 second.
All right, cool. Yeah, I haven't heard too much about BYD. I know you're saying it's a hot car. If it came to US, it would eliminate Tesla, Alonzo. I got to look it up for myself, man. I really don't know too much about EVs. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm here to learn, right? Zone EV LFM, anyone? Of course not. Won't be doing that.
All right. Here we go. Okay, and let me do this while I can check here. Let me just welcome. We got a Zoe in the house. Lonzo Hall, what's going on, brother? And we got Zone. What's going on, fam? Unsilly Jules, 123. We got to confirm. Appreciate you and welcome. All right. So let's see here. Okay. There was a point I was making to this, right? It's interesting that they say that because, we also had like Huawei and Xiaomi. Their phones were banned, right? And Huawei's telecom switches, the 5G switches, and all those components were banned as well because of fear of spyware coded into the firmware, right?
Mhm.
And then when you flip the script on that, they feel the same way about like Tesla, for example,
Yeah.
right? So this is one of the concerns when we're talking about this EV market and the connectivity of electric vehicles because it works on a way different scale than what it does with traditional cars and just having like GPS tracking and the car's telemetry being
Mhm.
monitored versus when essentially you got IoT on board when you're talking about an electric vehicle. And so this is the concern that both sides have. What kind of so what kind of data are you gathering? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That has allowed Chinese automakers to sell their products in foreign markets at prices no one else can hope to compete with, undermining local industries in the process. This has been most relevant in Europe, where Chinese automakers like BYD and MG have already set up shop. Last year, 1 in 5 EVs sold in Europe were made in China. This year is expected to be 1 in 4. Okay. What's everyone doing about it? Last year, the European Union began an investigation into anti competitive behavior by Chinese OEMs, and stronger EU tariffs on Chinese EVs are expected to be levied in the next few weeks. Now, it's interesting that was said. President Xi Jinping of China was just there on a tour of Europe last week.
Mm.
So I want to say there were conversations literally about that. We'll see how that materializes because he was just
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Yeah. Chinese car imports to the U.S. are already subject to an additional 25% import tariff on top of the 2.5% tariff that applies to any car imported to the U.S. And Chinese brands have yet to enter the U.S. market. Not exactly true. BYD has a plant in Lancaster, California. However, what they do is they build the electric buses there. They have rolled some sample cars off of the same facility in Lancaster, but they're
Hmm.
not manufacturing them there. They have the ability to do it. That's what I
Gotcha.
want. That's what I want to know. They've turned that the whole point in terms of like for shareholder and all that kind of shit for people that are interested in that. What they're showing is that they can roll buses, cars, SUVs, small SUVs, you name it, off of the same assembly line. So they did that to demonstrate that. But as of now, yeah, BYD only builds um electric buses and stuff like that they got contracts for.
Makes sense.
Yeah. let's see here. If enacted this week, oh God, this is the part I didn't want to read. If enacted this week, the new 102 point 100, dude, it was 100% from what it was either 25 to 25. They got the number wrong. 102.5% tariffs would apply to Polestar and Lotus, bro.
Hmm.
Because Polestar and Lotus. So I want to say both are owned by the Geely Group.
Okay.
Okay, that's a Chinese conglomerate. Geely bought Polestar from Volvo,
Hmm. So
and
Polestar was on there Volvo first.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Polestar was Volvo's performance brand, right? And
Oh,
then yeah, and then Geely they purchased it.
so wait. So
Yeah, go ahead.
Polestar was a performance Volvo.
Polestar was the performance arm of Volvo. Yeah,
It was gasoline powered at that time, right?
yeah,
Oh, okay, I gotta look that up, bro. I had no idea, man.
yeah, dude. Look, go if you go back to like say like the late 2000s and then into the 2010s, Polestar was building all of the touring cars for Volvo.
So is that why they call themselves Polestar? Like their
Yeah,
stars? Okay, I get it. All
yeah,
right.
because they're the Nordic. It's a Nordic nation. Yeah.
Well, I thought in regards they were saying Polestar, meaning like they always get pole because you said
Oh,
performance.
oh no,
So,
Polestar, like because they're a Nordic nation to like North Star, Polestar.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
North Pole, right. And
Okay.
then Lotus, Geely acquired Lotus too.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I want to say maybe a little over a year ago, we did cover the electric. Lotus has an electric car that just came out, and what it's doing is that it's using all of the Geely platform electrified technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they made an electric Lotus Elise, I think it was, or whichever the higher end Lotus is,
Yeah,
right?
I want to say they've been doing a commercial on that car recently though.
Mm-hmm.
One of them.
Yeah, Geely owns both. So these fuck 102%, bro. Point five.
What
I'm
does
sorry.
that mean?
The tariffs. So it's like a tax essentially.
Well, I guess I'm asking because I don't know. It's saying it's
Hmm.
if enacted this week, the new 122.5% tariffs would apply to Pole. What do you
Polestar
mean?
and Lotus.
What does that mean? Apply? Like, what does that
It would
mean? Like,
apply to to any cars that you're buying that's a Polestar or a Lotus, dude,
mhm.
because they're actually Chinese.
Oh, so you're saying they're basically? Oh, okay. I get what
Yeah,
you mean.
because Geely bought them, dude. Geely is
Oh,
a Chinese conglomerate, dude. Yeah.
okay. I get that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, that's why I'm like, damn, Polestar and Lotus. Lotus was British and Polestar was Dutch.
Hey, your boy Alonzo says you got a bone to pick with you because you didn't got him into Porsche.
he, from my understanding, Zoe was a Mercedes dude, if I'm not mistaken. He can correct me
Oh,
if I'm wrong.
well he started off wrong to begin with. But that's
Dang.
another.
Okay, Zoe, you know what? He said that, not me. All right. Anyway, okay. Both which currently build their U.S. market EVs. What I tell you in China, Geely. Okay. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. All right. But that doesn't mean the industry isn't terrified. If there are no trade barriers established, they will pretty much demolish other car companies in the world, said Tesla CEO Elon Musk. We are going to get into Tesla after this. This is why this is called the 2024 EV Automotive and Micromobility and Analyst Outlook, okay? Because there's crazy shit going on right now. If you cannot compete fair and square with the Chinese around the world, then 20% to 30% of your revenue is at risk, said Ford CEO Jim Farley. Elon speaking on it, Jim Farley speaking on it. It probably goes without saying that the United Auto Workers also, okay, now we got the unions involved, also thinks protecting the U.S. auto industry is worthwhile. The transition to cleaner technologies cannot be used to intensify the global race to the bottom. Damn, right? Through offshoring and low wages. This is what we're seeing here. We need to see movement by the administration to protect these jobs. The nascent EV industry needs tariff protections. Otherwise, we're going to be awash in imports. The stakes of the transition are high for American workers, the union said in a statement in March. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. I forgot to do something. Derp or derp. No, that's not what I meant to do. Okay. This. And then let me go here. Oh shit. Come on. Hold on. Sorry, you guys. Just give me a second. You know me. I don't do this stuff in a while, and then I start derping it up. Okay. All right. U.S. politicians have already passed laws to counter the threat of Chinese dumping EVs here. The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 revised how the IRS clean vehicle tax credit works. The consumer subsidy is now only eligible on vehicles assembled in North America. Now, oh shit, I did that again. Um, my issue with a lot of this type of stuff is that it does not account or equate micromobility because those are EVs. And by the definition, I literally do assembly. Literally.
Okay.
Okay. So my issue with a lot of this type of stuff and how they're doing all this is that what about for shops like ours,
Okay.
right? So we're gonna get more into this later on because that'll probably shed some light on all of this. But yeah, these are things to think about. That's why we're gonna do this industry analysis here. Um, let's see here. The consumer subsidy now eligible in North America. Okay, each year an increasing amount of the battery pack's content and value. Holy shit. Okay. Each year, an increasing amount of the battery pack's content and value must have also originated in the US or a country with which we have a free trade agreement in order to be eligible. And EVs with Chinese batteries are explicitly not eligible. And see, there we go. Okay. So, for those of you guys that are listening in, you may or may not know this. The Chinese pretty much have a lock on the lithium ion markets. They own the majority of the lithium ion mines, right? And largely the supply chain as well. I source my batteries from a specific factory in China that I will not name. I have a direct working relationship with them. I am their agent here. Okay. I follow this stuff keenly. I've been talking to Jamal about it. I've been talking to Mike about it. I've been talking to Rael about it. All right. This is like a big thing because what they're saying here, EVs with Chinese batteries are explicitly not eligible. EVs or PEVs? What voltage batteries? What's the capacity? What are the regulatory guidelines? Right? I mean, I guess we can click some of these links and maybe look into it a little bit more. But these are the questions that we want to throw out here because this is literally something that, from what we understand, based on the news that was released today, because this is from today, 8:45 this morning, right? It hit my news feed as soon as I got my ass up this morning. Okay. And from what I'm understanding, there's supposed to be something signed tomorrow, and then all the details will lie within. Let's see here. This year, senators on both sides of the aisle, most recently Sherrod Brown, Democrat of Ohio, have called for a ban on Chinese EV imports. Once again, the question is here, we're going to click that link. But the question is, does that include PEVs? Is micromobility a part of this, right? This is where we really want to be mindful because in some of the stuff we're going to cover here later, we're talking about two sub segments of an automotive industry, or I would say a new one. And one that is trying to adapt to what was traditional, i.e., internal combustion engines. And pressure from the U.S. Trade Representative has seen the Mexican government promise not to offer incentives to Chinese EV makers looking to establish a beachside inside the UN United States Mexico Canada free trade agreement. Okay, too late. There's already companies in China doing this. This is the reason why they're signing these tariffs. Too late.
Right.
Too late. There's already companies in China already manufacturing DOT certified vehicles, meaning like the A pillars, B pillars, C pillars, whatever, are all DOT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whole frame of the car, structure of the car, it's all DOT certified. $10,000. You see why they don't want to? They got to slap a tariff to the tune of 102.5%.
Mm.
Right? Because what did Elon say? He said, "Well, yeah, we're gonna come out with a $25,000 electric car. Let's do the math real quick. 10,000, and if you were to multiply that by 102.5%, what do you get?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Calculations.
What say you, Jamal?
You said what now?
I said, what say you?
I don't know. You said 10,000 times 102.
10,000 times one is if you take 10,000 and you multiply that by the 100.2.5% tariff.
I'm gonna say that's probably like a million and two
No,
250,000 or something. I don't know. What is
no,
that?
it would be 25K.
10,000. You said all right. Well,
102.5. So essentially what you're doing is you're doubling the price of the 10K, and then you got to add the 2.5, and that's the 25.
oh
So that's what I'm saying. See, because Elon was promising $25,000 electric cars. He got the drop on this.
yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like let's put this together here. Right? This is the wrangling and all this shit going on. Now, I just pulled this one up. I just want to see something real quick. Ban Chinese electric vehicles now, demands U.S. Senator. China's EV industry benefits billions of dollars in government subsidies. There was a point in here that, let's see, Brown calls Chinese EV an existential threat to the U.S. automotive industry and says that allowing imports of cheap EVs and Chinese brands is inconsistent with the pro-worker industrial policy. Hmm. Okay. I wanted to see. Let me just go through here. I'll post a link to this one and the other article as well. What was it the existential threat or? Oh wait, it was about Mexico, I think. Okay, but Chinese EVs are on sale in Mexico already. And that has American automakers worried. Okay, this was the point. Last year, Ford CEO Jim Farley said he saw Chinese automakers as the main competitors, not GM or Toyota. Okay, first of all, Toyota, as you know, Jamal, they're invested in hydrogen,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and hydrogen fuel cell technology. Look, here's the thing. Toyota made a joke of the EV stuff with the Prius in the 2000s and the 2010s. They showed you how easy it is. Okay. But the thing
Yeah.
about EVs, there are limitations. The hydrogen stuff, however, man, the stuff that Toyota's doing, bro, next level,
Oh yeah.
right? It's
Mm-hmm.
next level. So they are not going to want to hedge on electric when they know hydrogen, just based on their tests and all that, hydrogen's it outpaces electric. So why would they do it?
Right.
You know? And in January, Tesla CEO Elon Musk said he believed that if there are no trade barriers established, they will pretty much demolish most of the other car companies in the world. So this is what they're talking about right here. Okay. The fact that China has set up shop in Mexico already. Just keep that in your back pocket. Let me drop this link here. Not sure. Let me do this. Let me go over here. Hey Ryo, I text you the link, bro, if you want to pull up. Just giving you a heads up, fam. Okay. So there is the link to that article, and then let me do this one. Okay, this is the one on the news that dropped today. So tomorrow, you guys, we will be finding out. And Zoe, you know what? Here, let me do this. Let me just do this because I got the fellas in here. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link. Zoe is the insurance par excellence in these spaces here, and I can vouch for that. So that's my bro right there.
Bro, those
Y'all
tabs
want?
give me anxiety. But keep going.
Wait, you said what? The tabs? I do a lot. I got a lot of them. I gotta leave up for work. So hold on one second. Let me reduce your anxiety. All right, and then I'm gonna bring up the next. Let me bring up the next article here. But yeah. That's something we're gonna have to keep an eye on here for tomorrow when they release all of the actual details. Okay, on this set of tariffs, I guess that Biden's gonna sign through tomorrow.
If he remembers.
Oh, you got jokes. You got jokes.
I was about to some
Dang,
I was about to
bro.
something earlier today, man. That dude he looked
You got
like
jokes. Dang.
Bro, Biden don't be knowing what the fuck be going
He be
on.
like, is it nighttime? You guys have my pudding ready?
For real.
This will be asking for pudding and shit in the middle of the
Connie,
damn.
Connie, you know I like rice pudding.
Like Connie. Who are you calling Connie?
That was my that
Who's
was my
Connie?
that was my old bitch from
Yeah.
1945.
Connie. Who? Hey, let's stop. Let's stop. Okay. All right, next article. And by the way, y'all, I posted the links to those two in the chat. The links are also in the description. This is the docket for this live stream here. Okay, we got to get into Tesla. This is all going to tie in, y'all. That's why we got to do this here. But let's get on board. Let's see what's going on here with this whole EV shit. Okay, a criminal probe into Tesla's claims its partially automated vehicles are self-driving. Okay, that's a little bit oxymoronic. Partially automated vehicles are self-driving. Self-driving would infer that they're fully automated. But anyway, is centering on potential charges of securities and wire fraud related to concerns that the company and its CEO, Elon Musk, have oversold their cars' driving capabilities, according to the new report from Reuters. The electric car maker has been under investigation since 2021. Reuters reported at the time, prompted by a string of crashes that occurred while Tesla's partially automated driving system was activated. The car maker acknowledged that the investigation in filings last year, disclosing that it had received DOJ subpoenas on various topics. So that means that's just more than just that one. The investigation has reportedly centered on Tesla's claims and marketing of the car's automation capabilities. The automation systems, for example, called Autopilot and full self-driving, which has prompted scrutiny from regulators and other groups claiming it falsely suggests the cars are autonomous and don't require human supervision to operate. Now, I need you guys. I don't know. I think one of the or two of the other Tesla articles we're going to cover mentions Robotaxi. Okay, Robotaxi is the word we want to focus on. That has everything to do with the autonomous driving capabilities and some of the promises that Elon made to shareholders, right? When they rounded up money for investment in Tesla. Okay. There was supposed to be a larger commercial autonomous Tesla based service going on called Robotaxi. It has not materialized. As a matter of fact, cars have been crashing with the shit. So we'll carry on. Over the years, Musk and Tesla have both hailed the car's self-driving capabilities. A video on Tesla's website, for instance, claims the person in the driver's seat is only there for legal reasons. Jesus Christ, you don't say shit like that. And the car is driving itself. Though Reuters reported it's not immediately clear what specific statements may be under criminal scrutiny. I'll tell you, it's this one. The person in the driver's seat is only there for legal reasons. That's the one. While the vehicles can perform many tasks automatically, they still require human supervision and for drivers to remain alert and to keep their hands on the wheel. In probing wire fraud and securities fraud, investigators will have to show that Tesla disseminated deceptive communications to consumers and that the company deceived investors. I was just telling you guys that. Reuters reported Forbes has contacted the Department of Justice and Tesla for comment. While Musk and Tesla have been bullish on Tesla's capabilities, they've also made other statements acknowledging the importance of human intervention in their self driving vehicles. And I like how they put self driving in quotes. The Tesla website notes, for instance, its autopilot features require active driver supervision and do not make the vehicle autonomous. A post on X from Tesla on Tuesday referred to the full self-driving system FSD, and Musk also boosted the program, writing, "The latest version of Tesla's supervised self-driving will blow your mind." You gotta say that. I mean, come on, bro. You need that money to keep coming in. Stocks are looking bad. Reuters reported the DOJ sources believe any potential charges could face significant legal hurdles in court due to those claims. Tesla's partial automation technology has faced scrutiny on multiple fronts. At least 8 lawsuits have been filed over fatal or Jesus Christ. Eight, at least 8 lawsuits have been filed over fatal or serious accidents, claiming the technology is not safe and that the company has exaggerated its capabilities, according to the Washington Post. Now, we're going to hit the pause button right there. I need you guys to look this up. The sister in law of Mitch McConnell, she was the CEO of a Chinese shipping magnate, right? Billionaire chick. Okay. Mitch McConnell's sister in law. She got into her Tesla. And the story is, I'm throwing this in quotes. The story is, you guys can look this shit up. The story is that she got into her car and she was at a brunch, but I guess supposedly allegedly she was drunk, right? So she turned on autopilot or something. And so the car backed up into a lake, right? So this place where she was at a brunch that had a lake, right? And so the parking lot was near like kind of where the water was. And so the car just so happens to just back up into the lake. And I guess the doors just automatically locked. And she kind of got stuck in the car and ended up dying. Go look this up. This happened about a month or a month and a half ago. No bullshit. Okay. Let's see here. In December, the company had to recall over 2 million cars due to concerns over its autopilot technology. Oh, and by the way, we won't speculate what that was about. But anyway, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said this week it was seeking more information on the recall, concerned the car maker didn't do enough to ensure drivers were remaining alert after 20 crashes were reported following December's software update. So wait a minute. They did a software update and then there were 20 goddamn crashes. Okay. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety in March gave its first ever safety ratings to various partially automated driving systems, granting almost all of them, including Tesla's, poor safety ratings. 13. That's how many fatal crashes involving Tesla's autopilot feature have been identified by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in a probe that started in 2021. So wait a minute. This is just so you guys know. Okay. The probe started in 2021, right? So it could be more. But the number right now is 13 deaths due to Tesla's autopilot.
Hey, so I kind of have not inside information, but kind of have something in regards to that. So you know how there's autopilot damages that or crashes that they are noticing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, there's a team at my place of work that's you know how do you say creating some type of technology to where the autopilot system will be able to notice things without interference or how do you say noise.
That's
uh,
the bots that you were telling me about that they're launching.
well it's kind of like a Well, it wasn't necessarily a box, but it's just to make the computer smarter within the
Okay.
computer, the car itself. Because a lot of times these Teslas, they'll run up to a stop sign and somebody will put a big ass sticker on there, and the car itself can't recognize it as a stop sign.
Ah,
So what they're trying to do is make the computer smarter to where it can recognize what it's really supposed to do outside of the noise. The noise being that sticker that's placed on the stop sign.
gotcha.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. What's up, Complex?
Yeah, I
What's up?
want to welcome Mike V and Renaissance Man. What's going on, brothers? How you guys doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm
What's
good,
up,
bro.
Mike? Yeah. No, I was gonna say I heard the same thing with the Robotaxi, the taxi company, autonomous taxi company owned by Amazon.
Yes.
Out there, and I think they do testing in the Bay, and I think
Mhm.
Nevada as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
No, the same thing. Like I watched a video, a lady got in, it was like, hey, take me to this destination. The car kind of got confused, took her the wrong destination, made the wrong turn. She had to get on the phone with customer service, and you're actually locked in the vehicle as a safety feature.
Right.
So yeah, so it's still some progress to be made. And that someone else was saying too, like one just like randomly stopped in the middle of the road and someone rear-ended them.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, so insurance, those things, but people are making progress. And it's funny, I've got something to add to the docket that I was actually texting Mike about, and he told me you were
Ren, can
live.
you put it? Can you put it in the back chat and I'll get it?
Yeah, I'll bring
Okay,
it up.
just
It's
stick
just
it in the
talking about.
private chat. And I'll pull it up.
Okay,
I'll add it.
but yeah. So no, it's it'll be interesting to see how long it takes the U.S. to sort of catch up with competitors across the world, because I mean, while oh, go ahead.
Well, Ren, before, because you kind of bring going back. I guess was that the first article that we covered? Are you touching kind of on like what's going on with the legislations that's supposed to be signed through tomorrow with regards to the tariffs and everything?
Yeah, well, yeah, this video that I'm gonna drop, it talks about that as well, because
Okay.
I'm like,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
even if you the wild thing is the cars they're producing in China are so cheap. Even if you put the 25% tariff on, I'm like, it's still cheaper than what the U.S. is building.
Well, see, the thing was, see, this is what Jamal and I were talking about. So, like, if you take a $10,000
Yep.
Electric vehicle, right? That's from China, and then you hit it with 102.5% tariff. You just made it 25K. And this is where Elon was promising that they were going to do a 25K electric vehicle. I guess what they were going to try to do here is just set this whole thing up where we have price parity at the low point.
Yeah, but I mean, he never got there. He hasn't got there. What, he's gotten to around 40, 35 maybe?
I think this set of tariffs is supposed to help them get there, or at least him. I don't know about the other car makers. Maybe Mike, you got something on it, dude? Like,
Yeah, I don't think he got there. And with the tariffs too, like the other thing they're scared of, because even if you make it parity, they're concerned about spying. Like, everybody, TikTok getting possibly banned.
That was the whole thing, right? That was that's kind of what was covered, and that's why I was like, okay, well, maybe we can kind of go back, right? Let's circle back to that and talk about this for a second.
Yeah, but I'll drop the video in the back chat. It's really short, about 5 minutes.
Back chat, because that was a part of this whole tariff thing, right? Because see, the Chinese feel the same way about, like, say, like the data collecting from Tesla. Right, there's certain shit they don't want Tesla gathering from them, and it's vice versa on this side.
Well, it's a little bit different. Mostly because China has their own domestic policies that are different than United States. United States does not have a national policy on privacy, and so every state has their own individual policy when it comes to privacy and data collection, and so it's not the same. They might say it, from a PR perspective, but from a policy perspective, there is nothing comparative between China and the United States, and so a lot of the times these things are kind of reactionary, and they United States is just kind of reacting to whatever China is doing. But when going back to the last article about autonomous driving on Teslas, what they're running into is hallucination. And so what happens here is the AI can't process the data that it's receiving or the information that it's gathering, and then it just hallucinates. It kind of just kind of bugs out. And so I think what Kita is referring to is the ability to demystify a lot of that hallucination that the AI goes through. And so Tesla has been gathering, a lot of the driving telemetry from cars and their drivers. You have to opt in for this, but they gather all the telemetry so that they can build an autopilot feature. But because people drive so you know uh, beyond the speed limit and beyond the practical regulatory standards that we have in place, it makes it difficult for the autopilot to actually gather the right amount of information that it needs to actually function. And so, uh, especially when you combine that with infrastructure, roads uneven and lines in the road not
Change. Yeah, the
inconsistent.
lines of the road lines change when they repaint them and shit.
Yeah, so it requires a lot of processing power that the car is just not capable of doing right now. Um, that's why you have all these neural chips and stuff like that being developed.
I was just about to ask you about that, Mike. It wasn't the thought that each car is supposed to update all the other vehicles, right?
Yeah, that's vehicle to vehicle communication protocol.
Yes.
Yeah, vehicle to vehicle communication protocol, vehicle to infrastructure V2I protocol. All of
Mhm.
these things have to be in tandem with each other. The problem is that all the other auto manufacturers have not really caught up to the protocol as of yet. Tesla is kind of ahead, but they're not that far ahead of the rest of them. But
And
go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you real quick, Mike. What about the because you're gonna need 5G? Isn't that also you're gonna need like 5G everywhere to be able to support this as well? If you're talking about autonomous.
Not necessarily
Yeah, I was
5G,
gonna say,
not
yeah.
necessarily 5G, but you would need some kind of that's what the vehicle to vehicle communications protocol is for.
Because that's edge, isn't that, Mike? Isn't that edge?
The car itself would be edge.
Yeah, that's edge computing, Ren.
Oh, okay.
We used to actually, Mike. We used to talk a lot about that shit.
Wait,
Edge
no, Mike, but you need the cloud though, like access to the cloud.
No,
Yeah,
edge.
the cloud is already there. The thing here is the cars have to be able to communicate with each other. You
Yeah.
communicate outward. That doesn't mean anything. If you can, talk to the internet, that doesn't mean anything because the rest of the cars are not online either.
Right.
Oh no. I mean, like from the standpoint of, aren't you like, if you're gonna make this work from an autonomous standpoint, you're either gonna have to have like access to the cloud or access to 5G to have the continuous communication, or they go on GPS.
Well, no. The cars talk to each other.
Okay.
Yeah, the cars talk to each other first. Right. Then they can talk out to the edge, which is what Complex is referring to.
Right.
The cloud is secondary to all of this because you don't know where the infrastructure for the cloud is because it's all regional.
Yep. That's how, Ren? That's how I learned this shit from the IoT stuff with the e-scooters, the rideshare stuff. Because think about most of the computing power is going on between your phone and the device, right? So the actual the actual communication is literally ground level. It's on the edge, dude. It's not up in the cloud. It's actually below. That's why the cars talk to each other, and then you have the cloud above, right? That does all the data storage and shit.
Well, the cars talk to each other, and then they report that information to the edge itself, and then the edge will eventually push it out to the cloud as the
cloud. Right.
So what is the cloud? So what is the cloud running off of, though?
Well, cloud could be in anyone's data center.
I guess my question is like, all right, we know that we have the cloud, but there's always a base, data point that something always has to refer to.
That would be like AWS. What Mike? AWS.
It could be Salesforce, Hyperforce. It could be anybody. The cloud is autonomous. It doesn't even have to be, or I shouldn't say autonomous, but it's agnostic. It's agnostic. It won't matter because all the data is just going to go somewhere anyways. It just needs to process somewhere. But you always process data at the point of acquisition, and the point of acquisition is where the vehicles are. And so that's why the edge is important, because now you're talking about fog computing instead of cloud. Fog before the cloud. And so the fog computing layer is in between these vehicles that are communicating with each other, and then you also have the edge layer where all that data that's generated by those vehicles to the infrastructure to the edge. That's where all of that is taking place. The cloud is somewhere further. If we're talking about LA, for example, all of your vehicles that are on the road are communicating with each other. Then they push all of that information out to the infrastructure, which is right there locally on the ground, depending on where the zip code is. And then that information gets processed there at the edge, and then it sends out to the cloud. That could be somewhere in Santa Monica somewhere.
Right. Data center.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Rand, this is the video right here. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and play it right now.
World of Chinese electric vehicles
Looking for a spot.
that are going further and costing less than ever before. No company makes or sells more than BYD, the Chinese giant taking on Tesla, offering cars for as little as $10,000,
Let's drive.
along with higher priced luxury models.
0 to 60 miles per hour in about 3 seconds. Anything like this in the U.S.?
Nothing that I've drove.
0 to 6 miles per hour.
And
60.
BYD on
Oh, it
American
sound like she
roads
said
in
6.
Cancun.
The U.S. government need to be more friendly.
Stella Lee is the CEO steering BYD's expansion in the Americas. In an exclusive interview, she said the U.S. is not part of the plan yet.
They're not ready.
Even though they
But
got
then
a
for BYD, we are ready.
What conditions would need to exist in order to consider an entry into the U.S. market?
That's a good question. You should go back to ask the DC or
BYD
Oh,
faces
shit.
stiff hurdles in the
She
US.
doesn't have the answer. That's why she said that.
No,
25%
no, she
tariff
doesn't
on
have it.
imports.
You think
And
so?
pushback
Yeah.
from U.S. automakers who see Chinese competition as a major threat.
I think it's going to
That's
require
the
trade restrictions for a limited period of time, which will allow the Western automakers and the U.S. automakers to catch up.
Even Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who just made a surprise visit to Beijing to meet officials,
It's good to see electric vehicles making progress in China.
said that without trade barriers, Chinese EVs will, quote, demolish other car companies. BYD began as a battery manufacturer, and with the help of government subsidies, now controls every mile of its low-cost supply chain from parts to shipping.
Shit.
Among the concerns of U.S. automakers and lawmakers, that BYD's plan to build a factory in Mexico could allow the company to skirt tariffs under free trade rules.
Hey, if they do that,
That's the goal. And U.S.
Mhm.
officials say
if they go to Mexico, that'd be crazy.
China could use smart car
them are
technology
already
to
there, dude.
spy on American drivers.
I'm saying based on what they
With
just
the
said.
Biden
Yeah.
administration opening an investigation into smart car technology because of national security concerns that this technology was coming from China.
I don't understand. There's no data approve that.
If national security concerns are overblown,
Overall, sensitive and misleading.
BYD alone is producing more than 3 million cars a year, with capacity for more, and few signs of slowing down. Janice Mackey Freire, NBC News, Shenzhen.
Thanks for watching. Stay on.
Shenzhen. That's where it all happens, y'all. If y'all don't know, go ahead, Ren. You got it, man.
No, I was gonna say that I was watching this video and I sent this to Mike saying like, "Yo," and he was like, "Yo, Complex is talking about this right now." So that's what maybe it didn't show up in my feed initially, but it was just crazy to me that you had the CEO of Ford just saying, "Hey, you got to have tariffs for the West to catch up." Like he's not even trying to like walk it back. Like, we got it. Like,
Ren, they're not. Oh shit, Super Triz, what up, man? No, they're not actually gonna walk it back, right? This is kind of what Mike has been trying to pound through my head over the last maybe month or two, right? Because I kind of started asking him about this UL certification for batteries for e-bikes and e-scooters and stuff, right? Because we're gonna get into the micromobility side of all this, right? But thus far, from what we're covering, there's nothing pertaining specifically to the PEV market. However, we're gonna find out tomorrow.
Yeah, No, I was gonna say the other thing is too. They said 25% tariff on a $10,000 vehicle. I mean, you you do the math there. You're still gonna be landing at cheaper than what your American competitor is.
Well, see, so Zone is asking, what are the profit margin on an EV? I don't think you can sell for 10K. Yes, they can. What did they pay to produce it, Zone? Let's start there.
They said the company basically controls what every mile of their low cost.
Every mile of it, and then there was heavy government subsidy along with that.
Yeah. This is where we're really bumping into this whole free market ideology, and where it's really coming back to bite the U.S. in the ass is when you look at.
I was just talking to Raul about this earlier. I was talking to Mike about it. And even Jamal and I, we were talking. I was telling them about this whole battery shit that I'm going through right now, and I'm really trying to we're trying to position and pivot ourselves because we are associated with a U.S. based company that has certified the batteries from this factory. But how it all plays out in this whole tariff package, we'll find out tomorrow, right? But
go ahead.
No,
I was gonna say the other thing is too. It's just like you've heard more and more of the Biden administration talking about industrial policy, and like that's what the video we just saw is the reason why. Industrial policy used to be considered a dirty word, in the West, in the U.S. Industrial, because you're because you're basically having the government come in and subsidize industries, basically have a hand in the market. But I mean, you're seeing what happened. I mean, the whole TSMC, the founder used to work. The founder used to work at Texas Instruments and then went to Taiwan. It was educated at, I believe, Stanford and MIT. Is now in Taiwan, has built up their semiconductor business, and now it's like the West, you're trying to build this back up, especially in the States. So you've kind of seen where like just this unregulated type of market where it's really gone, and how it's really hurt you in some key areas, and that's why you have the CEO basically saying, hey, we're gonna have to basically put some tariffs on to basically slow the imports. And I don't even know if that worked if you're coming in at 10K.
I mean, Ren, if you want my honest opinion, dude, it's like I said, man, we'll find out tomorrow. But it's just like I don't want to be wrapped up in all this shit.
Because I was gonna say on top of that. No, I was gonna say on top of that too. You got to think a lot of the American car makers have already abandoned like vehicles. Like I know Ford doesn't even make cars anymore. I don't think.
Well, Ren, right now you got Toyota, GM, Ford, Stellantis. Stellantis is not a part of that. All of the major manufacturers here are suing the EPA right now. I forgot to bring that article up. They're suing the EPA over the EV mandate. Because what their claim is that the EPA does not have the power to mandate vehicle regulations. That's an act of Congress, which is true.
Yeah.
Right?
But I'm saying like the thing is you run into like you already have like a lot of American car makers who have abandoned the small and sedans because they couldn't even compete with the Japanese and the Koreans. And now you're talking about the Chinese coming into the market, coupled with, I mean, when you start looking at like, Chevy and Ford and their big selling vehicles, it's basically trucks and SUVs. I'm like,
trucks, SUVs, and the small SUVs.
And I'm like, these things, a Tahoe is like almost 80 grand now. I'm like, what's going on here?
Those trucks used to be affordable. Now they're just like they're luxury cars.
They're like crazy. The prices on them are crazy, like $100K for some, depending on what you're trying to get.
A Toyota Tacoma. I know we're jumping to Japanese. Well, I'm jumping to Japanese. A Toyota Tacoma now is like a top of the line 70,000. That's crazy.
Do you remember how much Tacomas used to cost back?
They used to be like 20,000.
Thank you.
Yep. You have the new Wagoneer. I'll never forget this because I thought that was like an affordable family car. Like trying to go back to Jeep Wagoneer, that thing's $100K. I'm like, what?
What?
Yeah, I'm like, a Wagoneer costs more than a Range Rover. That's nuts.
That's crazy.
No, that's pretty normal for SUVs to have that sort of price tag when you really look at what the Escalade used to cost. Escalades used to cost around 70K. Now Escalades go for 150. And
Okay,
so
are we adjusting for inflation, Mike? I mean, if we're doing that, I can see that.
no, I'm saying the market demand for SUVs have driven the prices upward. They don't really need sedans anymore. I mean, if you think about what is it
Really?
what's the brand Ford sells more Explorers than they did any other sedan.
Yeah.
I mean, it just prints money.
Well, that's true.
Same thing for
But Mike, that's the inflation people are complaining about too. That
Well,
they don't realize
I was going to say
is that
thank
you basically are paying. Americans are paying what, probably 2 times what they really should be paying for a car, and automotive manufacturers aren't going to lower their prices unless they have to.
Well, that was the argument that the unions were making, that they saw the profit margins on SUVs, and that they weren't that the CEOs or C-suite was not cutting any of the bread with the union.
But see,
so that's why they started protesting them.
But Mike, but what happens when gas prices go up due to various reasons, right? And then the market shifts over to small little 4 cylinders, right? 1.3, 1.6, 2.0 liters, right? And everybody wants to ditch their 2.4 liter and up cars, right? So they can scale down. They want a 4-door 2 liter 1.6 or 1.3 because it's a gas sipper, right? Because
they're not dumping SUVs though.
You don't think so, Mike?
No, they're keeping the
no,
SUVs.
no, that's true.
No, they're keeping the SUVs because Porsche just talked about this. I think a couple months ago, the Porsche Macan is one of their highest selling vehicles. It's probably one of the fastest selling entry level vehicles for people to get into Porsche, the Porsche family. And so they're never going to dump that, because that's where they're making their profits. They make hand over fist, and then the resell on it
they hold it
extremely high. So
I was going to say, Porsche is one of the brands, ironically, that actually holds its value pretty well. One of the higher ones.
Yeah.
And they share a lot of parts with Volkswagen and Audi, and so for them, they're making they're making bank on it. I think a Macan probably costs what, 30 grand to make, and they're selling it for what, 70, 75. That's
damn, only 30.
Well, because remember, they're shared. These are parts.
That's right. It's
vehicles.
Volkswagen. Jamal's Volkswagen Audi group.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's called. Okay.
Yeah.
So they share everything, and that's everything from Volkswagen to Bugatti. Fuck.
Yeah. So all those the turn signal switches, all those knobs, those all come out of us. It's like the smart car, not the smart car, the Tesla. If you look at the turn signals and the knobs and stuff, it's exactly like out of a Mercedes. So all they do is just swap them, and that's how they keep their profit margin so high.
Yeah, like even what they was that the W12 engine that was in the Bentley.
That was fast. That was a fast ass motor.
Yeah, that V12
motor was.
It was in a few Bugatti, the Bentley. It was in a few. They cross-platform, like what you're talking about. They take components and they cross-platform. That way they can reduce the production costs, because they're using the same components in different cars across different brands too.
Unless you're like a Toyota, and then you claim it's a Toyota, but it's really a BMW. But that's a different story.
Yeah, you know what?
Never mind. We don't have to talk.
Well,
about
I mean, GM did that for years.
Yeah. The Buick one.
Yeah, Ford did it for years. It's not. I mean, Chrysler
Lincoln.
did it.
Yep.
Yeah, they've all done it. It's nothing new. It's just how they were able to survive until they couldn't survive anymore doing that same process. So
I was gonna say, isn't the new Supra a collab basically between Toyota and BMW?
That's what he was talking about.
It's not a collab. It's not a collab at all.
That's what he was talking about.
It's not a collab.
That's exactly what he was talking about. I knew he was going there. All right, hey, look, let's get into this next article here. This is from Business Insider, the Markets Insider segment. Okay, Ren, Robotaxi. Okay, we were just talking about this when you first came up, right? Tesla will drop 70% after Robotaxi and AI ambitions stop shielding a failing business. Big Short, investors say. Now, they touched on this in the don't you okay, I was about to say don't give me no crap. Okay. Tesla stock is cruising towards a steep correction and will see a drop off that even new tech initiatives can't steer around. Investor Danny Moses told CNBC. The Big Short trader and longtime Tesla bear isn't backing down from his bet against the electric vehicle maker, and he still anticipates Tesla shares to eventually hit $50, a decline of 70% from the current levels of $171. Just in full disclosure, y'all, I sold a lot of my stuff during the pandemic. Anyway, that's because the company's robotaxi and artificial intelligence ambitions can only obscure a shaky business outlook, but for so long. The Moses Ventures founder revealed a Tesla short last year, sparked by frustration over CEO Elon Musk's purchase of X, formerly Twitter. I mean, I don't know what Twitter. Okay, I guess I don't know. I don't know what the Twitter thing has to do with Tesla, but
Oh no, he's
maybe.
about to elaborate. He's basically thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna elaborate.
Okay. In Moses' view, it chipped away at Musk's attention to Tesla at a time when numerous headwinds were mounting. I mean, I almost look at it as like a somewhat of a bailout, if you were to ask me. But we'll
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
that.
No, I was gonna
We'll
say
talk about
like
that,
just
Ren. Yeah, because I'm.
yeah. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Okay. Moses again centered on Musk for why he remains pessimistic on the stock, which has already dropped nearly 33% year to date. So since the beginning of this year, Tesla stock has literally dropped a third. Shares rebounded briefly after CEO doubled down on Robotaxi and AI plans on its first quarter earnings call, but Moses sees such announcements as a distraction from the company's faulty fundamentals. For someone who cares so much about Jesus Christ, for someone who cares so much about the human race, he is firing a lot of humans at this point. I'm sorry, because Elon just literally had 4 rounds of layoffs in the last 2 weeks.
Oh
So
yeah, he canceled students' internships.
Oh my god!
And I don't even think some of
Go
these
ahead,
were
Ren.
paid.
Go ahead, talk about it, dude. Go
No,
ahead.
I don't even think some of these were paid. I was like, damn, I feel horrible if I.
Dude, it is, bro. I saw videos of girls, like this girl crying and shit.
Yeah, weeks before you're about to start, you probably turned down other internships and you just
No, dude, it was a
crazy.
girl. Dude, she showed up. She showed up at the place, and her card wasn't working. Okay, her card wasn't working. Then she goes over to the security guard, and he's like, "Yeah, you know what? Just stand right here. Let me find out what's going on." And then a bunch of other people showed up, and then some people's was working and some people's weren't. So guess who got laid off?
Yep.
So what happened was they were saying that all these people got put to the side, right? So then the security guard, he calls, he's like, "Hey, we got some people here. Their cards aren't working. Can you give us our names?" They send them the names. All these people get a text message with a Zoom link. The Zoom link is a meeting for them to be notified that they fucking got laid off.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like some of these places
Unreal.
are ruthless as hell. And I was
Jesus
gonna say, on top
Christ.
of that, you got to remember when Elon bought Twitter and laid off a bunch of people. He laid off the guy.
75%.
Yeah, he got the guy who was working at the gate and laid him off, and he couldn't get out of the garage or something, and had to ask the guy to come back and let him out. Yeah.
Oh my god. Jesus. I don't know, dude. Elon is not the guy you think he is. Okay. He's finding a lot of humans at this point, at this moment, and everything's kind of falling apart in their core business. Hey, this is kind of the sense I'm getting. He said on Sunday. So what's he doing? He's pointing at everybody to robo taxis and AI and autonomy and all that. Before the first quarter results, many on Wall Street had also turned cautious on the EV firm, citing stumbling delivery volumes and dimming industry outlooks, mainly talking about like the dip in sales. Okay. The list of headwinds extends beyond its performance, Moses noted, citing that Tesla is now facing an investigation from the Department of Justice to determine whether Tesla has misled consumers and investors about the self-driving capabilities of its vehicles, which is the article we just covered prior to this. The more time that goes by here and their core business is coming under pressure, I think this move to open it for robotaxis and AI is going to fade over time. The problem here, and Jamal, we were just talking about this on the last article. The problem is that the technology needed to operate in a robo-taxi and stuff like that has proven to not be solid. This is the problem.
It's vaporware.
Okay, speak on it, Mike. Go ahead. You got it.
No, it's just vaporware. That's all it is. He blew a lot of smoke that can never be manifested, and now he has to owe up to it, and that's the reality. What he speculated and pontificated on can't actually be manifested. So that's why it's in the condition that it's in.
Gotcha. So 150 billion market cap at $50 seemed like a reasonable valuation to me, he said. While Moses told Tesla as his primary short, he touted a separate autonomous driving firm called Wave. Wave. That's not, as opposed to Waze. Interesting. Okay. The firm had recently garnered $1 billion from major investors such as Nvidia and Bill Gates. Okay. They must know something that we do not. Thoughts, anyone?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, no, with the comments earlier in the video complex, basically from an investor standpoint, because that guy's I believe he said he's got a venture capital firm and he's an investor as well. They're basically saying, hey, really, anytime you're doing a business and they're looking at your company strategy, they want to know, like, you're not stretching yourself too thin. Like,
right.
Or what's your strategy? Is it coherent? Is it related? You know, do they scale? So, you know, being this guy who's, you know, started out, you know, at PayPal, you know, then jumped into SpaceX, is now obviously got Tesla going on, and then you go and get into a social media site. It's kind of like, okay, what are you doing here? So that's why he was sort of thinking, hey, you know, this was sort of a distraction, you know, and then you look up the finances that are tied up into it. You know, the value of X has basically been cut in half.
Right.
And, you know, on top of that, with Tesla, you have this big fight, obviously, for him to get his compensation about 50 billion. So it kind of makes me wonder as well, too, is like, is he seeing sort of the writing and trying to get his money out of it as well?
Because he was sued
to
prevent him from forgetting that.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing was, it was someone who owned like 10 shares. They had like $1,000.
Yeah, they didn't have much, but they were like, fuck this.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't take much. Yeah.
Right.
Spoke up at the shareholder meeting, was like, no, you shouldn't approve the package.
Right. Did any of y'all have any thoughts before we get into the next article here?
Yeah, I was gonna also add too, one of the things I think Elon's trying to do is, I read, I think like about a month ago, that Tesla chargers have become like the standard in the US, and that all the EVs will basically have cross compatibility. So I think that's his way of basically trying to embed himself into the standard to give himself, you know, some momentum as far as the cars go.
But that's always been the goal of Tesla, though, is not to be a car company, but to be an actual tech company. And so they're providing that infrastructure because that's what was needed in order to roll all of these vehicles out to begin with.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, no, I get that. I'm saying I think he's also trying to use that as a sticking strategy to make sure if I can become the standard, then I know I'll at least have some play, a guaranteed some space in the market.
But he'll have space because he has intellectual property out there that can be licensed.
Well, I was gonna say, Mike, I should have added this up. There's rumors and talks that either Shell or BP is gonna buy the supercharging unit.
Oh, from Tesla.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, I could definitely see that. If they're the only thing is,
the
only thing I wonder is that I know EV sales have been slowing down in the States. Like, they were taking off, and I know like companies like Ford, you know, Biden was really pushing to try to have, like, I think most new vehicle sales by 2030 be electric. I think they're gonna have to do something on like, I don't know, up the EV tax credit, or like, like put just like a maybe a tax or something on, on ICE cars, because it seems like it's caused some headwinds lately.
That's not
And
gonna help.
That's yeah.
and the other thing I'll say too, Tesla's always, its valuation has always been off from the fundamentals. Like it's always been valued more like a tech company than a car company. Even before they started making money, people were like, wait, this company only delivered, X amount of vehicles, and it's trading at this multiple.
That's the thing, though. They see that's kind of what's crazy about this, because they kind of technically are, right? Because you got the Sony Honda electric car coming here shortly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, how much of it is tech and how much of it is transportation, if the majority of it is actually computerized. You get what I mean?
Yeah. And with the whole Robotaxi business, like, I don't know, is he talking about trying to own that business or just like supply?
So the whole plan was that this was part of what, like, that government money that he got for all this shit was that right. See, so the Model 3 is supposed to, is it the Model Y?
Yeah, Model Y is small.
This is the Model Y. Okay, I think that's what it is. Not the Model 3, the Model Y. That is supposed to be the vehicle that is supposed to be sort of like these. Do you remember like a yellow cab?
Yep.
Back in the way back in the day, it was like that standard ass car.
Yep.
Okay, that's what the Robotaxi is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a stock, like a Tesla, and it is basically the Robotaxi. And it's their fully developed software stack that's supposed to make this all work like magic. And no, we don't have it yet.
Yeah, no, yeah. And I was gonna say, and I know he's also, he's got the 18-wheeler as well, the truck, the EV truck,
which I think they said they've delivered less than 50 of them, I think, or something like that. It's
I think Pepsi has an order in. I think FedEx had their order in for like 100 plus. So,
and you still don't
it's a matter of producing them.
And I think you're still lacking the infrastructure for like long haul. I think a lot of this is sort of in town, regional type of thing.
Yeah, it's not. We're not ready. We're not ready to use electric for long haul. Go ahead, Jamal.
Yeah, see, that's the problem, though. It's kind of like what Ren just said in regards to people looking at Tesla more like a tech company in regards. I mean, that's really who they are. I mean, you have to take the name for what it means. The name is Tesla. And, you guys all know about who Tesla was.
Yeah.
I think they just really, this is just me. This is just my uneducated view on it, right? I really feel like just Tesla just creates a lot of components and inventions for people to try out. And it's more or less trial and error. And they just get it right the second time around or third time around. And I think that's why they create all these things, for things to just play, to mess up, because we're in a point in history where people are just they're willing to just buy the newest thing regardless of how it performs, just to say that they have the newest thing.
Yeah,
I agree.
Exclusivity.
I agree.
Yeah, first to market.
Yeah, early adopters too. And the thing with his company as well is, to their point, is, hey, it's really riding on that whole Robotaxi, whether that can be brought into vision, which, that's part of his plan of actually hitting the like the $25,000 number too, is to have enough scale with the Robotaxis.
Right.
Yeah, to be able to sell them also to consumers at that same price point. But last time I checked, I think 50% of Tesla owners lived in California. So it's yeah. And
you do it. You don't want me to do a Tesla count just living around here. You'd be amazed.
No, it's that. So I mean, granted, the U.S. population, I think it's like 50% of the population lives in like 15 states. But
I'm gonna say, man, we seeing a lot. It's a lot down here, man, in Dallas. It's a lot of Tesla people down here in Dallas, and it's like they try to race you too. It's like at the light, it's like they're trying to beat you off the line or something. I don't know what's going on with them. But
anyway. But I was gonna say with that too, you got to think they got the Gigafactory there. Now, granted, I know he doesn't get discount, so yeah.
Well, wait, but see, Ren, like we covered this earlier. I'm gonna get to this article here, but like those layoffs that we were talking about, they hit Austin. That's where that was.
Yep.
right? So shit, that'll have to be. I'll have to shit, we'll have to do a follow up to that because there's the next this article, and I think the next one is about Tesla also. This was going to be kind of Tesla heavy in terms of the EV part, but we'll just go into this real quick. Hundreds of anti-Tesla protesters stormed Gigafactory in Germany. Tesla CEO Elon Musk downplayed the protest by pointing out it's National Protest Week. Okay, whatever makes you feel better, bro. All right, hundreds of climate protesters upset with the environmental impact of Tesla's manufacturing plant in Grünheide. Jamal, how does that sound? Grünheide.
Turn in your German card.
Germany broke through a police line and stormed Europe's lone gigafactory on Friday, according to several reports on social media. The protesters were stopped at a fence and failed to get inside the plant, though local German news outlet DW reports people were arrested. It's not yet clear how many. Protesters first opposed the Tesla plant just outside Berlin over the clearing of forests when it was first built back in 2020. Protests were renewed earlier this year when Tesla applied to clear 170 more acres to expand. Shit. Now, here's what I heard. I heard that Tesla took such a hit in Europe that they were actually moving all of those cars out of the Gigafactory to an open area to store the cars because they're shutting down the plant because the business has gone down. That's a rumor, y'all. I've heard this, and that I'm just throwing this out there in case you hear some other shit that cooperates with what I'm telling you. I'm just throwing this out here, right?
Well, they also got subsidies from the German government.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're shutting down the plant, before that 5, 7, 10 year period, Germany wants to know what's up with the money.
What the hell? Exactly. Okay, so just so y'all know, man, there may be some details missing, but from what I'm hearing, yeah, there's some other stuff going on. Protests were renewed this year. Okay. We're here today to draw attention to the Tesla factory in Grünheide for the environmental destruction here in Grünheide. Ole Becker, a spokesperson for Disrupt Tesla, dude, they got a whole squad called Disrupt Tesla, said on Friday, according to DW, but also for environmental destruction in countries like Argentina or Bolivia, where Mike, Bolivia, wasn't that what's his name?
Evo Morales.
Evo Morales,
and they overthrew him so they can get access to the lithium.
Bruh. Okay, all right. Where lithium is mined that is needed for these batteries and that causes terrible environmental destruction for the people there, but also for the environment, Becker continued. Protest organizers said there were 800 people present on Friday, though it's not clear how many actually stormed the building because there was more than one protest site. Shit. Tesla CEO Elon Musk tried to minimize the protests on Friday, calling reports fake news. Oh, shit. Really? Though it's not entirely clear what he was calling fake. This is fake news. Protesters did not manage to break through the fence line, Musk said on X, though nobody had claimed the fence was broken. There are still 2 intact fence lines all around. Wow, that's pretty detailed. No, this is National Protest Week in Germany, so there are a lot of protests for many reasons, he continued. An anarchist group called the Volcano Group took credit for cutting power to the German Tesla plant back in March. God damn. But it's not clear whether Friday's protests accomplished anything quite so tangible. Video posted to X by an account called The Break appears to show hundreds of people, many of them dressed in black, running toward the factory. Photos from the Associated Press show signs that read "Stop Tesla, Water is Life," and "End Neo-Colonialism." Oof. But the most colorful banner, which is available in the slideshow, reads Elon du Lash Verpis des Zoomars. Okay. Which apparently means something close to Elon, you salmon, fuck off to Mars. Okay. If you ever wanted to know how to tell somebody you salmon, fuck off to Mars, it's du Lash Verpis des Zoomars. There you go. Either that or Elon, you dick. Jesus Christ. Okay. We don't speak German, but crowdsourcing a translation on Blue Sky yielded a surprising variety of answers and explanations. God damn it. Okay. So, yeah, anybody got any thoughts on this? Protested in Germany. Tesla.
Yeah. Nah, it'll be interesting to see, because, like, I mean, Germany, obviously there's a little bit more consciousness, and I don't know if the cult of Elon has quite made it like it has in the States, at least with
Doesn't sound like it.
yeah, yeah, with people on the right, as far as that goes. But it seems like, I don't know, it seems like that he's got a lot of issues that kind of creeping up on him. I know, like, obviously, like, SpaceX, I don't even know if that is necessarily profitable. I think he maybe is using VC rounds to raise money. So, at some point, I think he's going to have to, like, cut bait and get out of some of these things and really focus in, just because, he's got so many balls in the air of trying to be, in this and that. And at a certain point, these things have to, like, make sense and make money, to be viable. Because my whole thing is, I studied Tesla, when I was in grad school, and one of the things was, Elon was one who was really pushing for the EV tax credit, like, for it to basically to be renewed, because Tesla had basically maxed out its credits, and all these other companies at some point, the big auto manufacturers in the US were going to come with their versions. And I was like, is it going to A, hit the price point, and then B, are people gonna people going to have that same, Tesla appeals to a certain group of people. It's kind of become, you could argue, a status symbol as well too, because of the scarcity of vehicles. But you have to wonder, like I said, in mass, can you make it a mass, like, where it controls, like, say 30% of the market, or does it stay sort of this niche brand that is really popular for, like, high end engineers, what people call tech bros, and that that field, and then maybe people who are seeking some status in that regard.
Ren, I gotta find the video where, like, so you had like a Tesla engineer. He was there for 5 years, right? This dude just bought a house, had 2 Teslas in his driveway and all that, and just got laid off recently, right? See, so it's kind of like there's been this sort of public image of Tesla, and then there's the reality that Tesla's like any other goddamn company, right? They'll just get rid of employees in order to make sure that they can maintain the right economics, right? That's attractive to shareholders and stuff. And I think for the longest time, Tesla has been shielded from a lot of things, largely because of the government subsidies and the tax credits and all this kind of stuff, right? But as, like, the EV market and just the automotive market has sort of matured and shifted and changed, so now things have changed for Tesla to a large extent. This is why we're seeing now the challenges, why people ain't buying their cars so much, because look, you got an onslaught from BYD and a couple other companies that want to bring cars in and underprice them. They want to undercut them. So now what we're trying to do is hit them with a tariff to bring them up to the 25K threshold, so that Tesla can then come down to that level and compete. But then there's a whole bunch of other things that Tesla has done that has kind of put them behind the 8 ball. And that has a lot to do with, like, say, like the layoffs, the Robotaxi stuff, promises that they've made to shareholders and investors and shit and consumers. So there's all these other things. And I think that Tesla's kind of hitting a point where I think maybe sort of like growing pains or a maturation point. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, every country has tariffs. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
uncommon, that United States would put tariffs on Chinese imports.
To the tune of 102.5%.
Well, and the fact that you're dealing with, if you're Biden, you're dealing with inflation right now too, and cars and housing are probably some of the biggest items, big ticket items.
Yeah, but the thing here is we don't just allow every other manufacturer to import their vehicles here too.
True.
I mean, that's why Volkswagen had to open up a plant in Tennessee. That's why
Right.
BMW has a plant in South Carolina. Mercedes has a plant in the South as well. I mean, that's not uncommon.
But do you think they could actually But to their point in the video, if they went and opened in Mexico, automakers don't even want them to do that.
Well,
And
because remember, Trump scraped NAFTA.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah,
yeah.
Got rid of that. So that's not going to help either. It doesn't work either. So, there is no entry point for those vehicles unless they're manufactured here. They have to be manufactured here.
You may see something like they've done with like Hyundai. That was big in Alabama. Like that was a big company out of Korea that they recruited, brought engineers, created jobs, things like that. So yeah, you use that model, but once again, the other thing too, Mike, is the national security concerns. I think with
what national security?
Like they were saying in the video, they were saying
they were talking about.
I mean that they're always going to talk about national security when it comes to China because they're a geopolitical adversary.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that they may not even let them like set up a factory in the States.
Well,
just because
BYD has one. They have one here. I was saying this earlier. They have one here in California. Now they've rolled off some prototype quote unquote vehicles, which are actually the production ones in China, because their assembly line has the ability to do buses and cars on the same assembly line. However, they are only permitted and licensed to do electric buses, like for commercial contract. That's what BYD, they have a plant in Lancaster, California, but that's all they can do there legally. That's all they can do there.
Okay, no, I meant more of like if they were, because she was talking about the concerns like that the U.S. had raised about them having these cars and then China being able to collect data. Like that whole angle. So so it's to kind of to be seen. But I was gonna say to Tesla, the other thing is I think Elon has kind of fallen ironically into what he kind of wanted to avoid, in the sense of, I kind of read like it seemed like when he first started off, like, he had a lot of respect for, hey, I want my company to be like really focused on great engineering and, quality and all these things. And, part of it that, you heard like the founder, TSMC talk about was just like turnover, and, sort of that short-term mindset and how that sort of undermined, if you look at somewhere like Japan, how they have like, 100 or 500 year business plan, and how they really, really focus on, keeping their engineers, developing them. It seems like, that was sort of the path you would think he's kind of going down of, hey, recruit really good talent and keep it there so you don't have the turnover and you have the continuation. And now you sort of see how even with him, he's sort of having to lay people off and all that, that tribal knowledge that's leaving the company as a result.
Right.
Which I don't know. Maybe that's something. Maybe that's just the downfall of being a public company. But that's how you cash out.
That's part of it, right? Because all other public companies, they go through their employment waves where sometimes they have to trim the fat, so to speak, right?
Yeah, but the ironic thing too is even when you study that from a business perspective, layoffs, they say, like from studies, are rarely
they don't actually benefit. Exactly.
You may hit like your short-term goal, but like it screws you up in the long run. You don't make the investment.
You lose brain capital, basically.
Yeah, lose brain capital, and you don't make the strategic investments you should make.
Right. Hey, check this out. Hey, can y'all hold it down? Just give me a couple minutes. Hold it down, and then we'll cover we're gonna do the market analysis for electric scooters and e-bikes, and we'll go ahead and close it out. But give me just 1 second. I'm gonna step away for just a minute, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike, you still there?
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, so you think, you think the Chinese car, BYD, you think they're gonna be able to like actually get into the States then?
No, they won't.
You don't think they will?
Because they're not manufacturing their vehicles here, and so that's a part of the issue.
And you don't think they'll do it?
I don't think they'll get the
approval.
The approval to do something like that. That would have to go through massive levels of approval. Now, a company like Lotus or Volvo, for that matter, that's an exception. Because they kind of build their cars in Britain and Sweden, and then they ship them over here. But they
my China Volvo. Yeah. And I wonder if that. I know they got a plant, I believe, in Chattanooga, and I think maybe South Carolina. And I wonder if those were there too before they were actually purchased by the Chinese company.
Say that one more time.
I wonder if those plants, because I think they have a plants in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and in I think somewhere in South Carolina, like maybe Greenville or something like that, or like maybe a small like manufacturing facility with Volvo. So I wonder if those were actually here before they were purchased by the Chinese company, because I think that happened.
Well, that's Volvo trucks.
Yeah,
Volvo trucks, Volvo cars are separate.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're separate entities.
Oh, okay, did not know that.
Yeah, Volvo being Volvo heavy, all the front loaders and earth movers and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
it's all separate entities and stuff like that. So Sweden still benefits. It's just a matter that they're separate entities. And so I think that China needs this market in order to really explode out the market, because the dollar is strong compared to every other currency. And so it would behoove them to actually sell those vehicles here, but they can't. And I don't see how they make any but I don't think it's possible that they will sell it for 10,000.
But I think it still shows the problem of like, if you're a U.S. automaker, like, because they're saying, hey, they need to catch up. Like at some point, I feel like you're gonna have to show the cost savings, because I don't know, maybe not, maybe Americans will not wake up to it. But I mean, I've talked to foreigners and they'll say things like plane tickets to automobiles to medicine, like all these things that Americans buy that cost 2, 3, 4 times, 5 times the markup, and it's just because people aren't aware of it, unless you live on the border and you're able to go to go into Canada, go into Mexico and buy these things, and but a lot of people just don't get the markup that you're dealing with. And then like I said, we start talking about the economy and inflation. I was listening to a report today, and they were saying some people were talking about how they're still feeling the effects of inflation. I'm like, well, if you've got the high concentration in the market with firms dominating the market and being able to price signal, unless you can do something to drive that down, or like the Ford CEO says, that they can catch up, are you going to be able to catch up and be like competitive? Like, okay, maybe you can't sell for 10K, but can you sell for like 15, 18?
Well, keep in mind that China bought the mineral mines from the Canadians in Africa, and so those mines that's in Congo are now owned by the Chinese, and so they've had a head start in terms of producing, extracting those resources and bringing them to production. For the last 10 to 15 years. That's something that the United States really had not been in the driver's seat of. And so they're playing catch up there. And so it makes a lot of sense that China would be at the forefront of developing these batteries, especially the sodium-based batteries that they're utilizing in their vehicles now. The United States doesn't have anything remotely close to that. And so they've had a head start in all of in the battery manufacturing process and the research and development. And I think that's where the Chips and Science Act really came in, was to close that gap. I would say that the United States is probably maybe 3 years behind China in terms of life cycle. Everybody else is probably, I'd probably say the Europeans are probably around that 3-year mark as well. But they just don't own those mines that, that the Chinese have in Africa. And so they're going to be playing catch up for a little bit of time, unless they combine forces. But even the United States is going to play isolation ball with the Europeans too. They're not going to allow the Europeans to catch up either. They would prefer the Europeans to go take a hike if it was up to them. So a lot of those vehicles that are sitting on those lots are going to be resold in Russia in Latin America, anyways. I mean, they're already selling those vehicles in Latin America as it stands. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the other thing is that if they can't sell the U.S. market, if they go to South America or somewhere like that, or even how much of a foothold can they get in Europe?
I'm sorry.
Europe
Wait,
has its
hold
own tariffs.
You good, Complex?
No, yeah, I'm laughing, dude. Triz got jokes. He said I got a bumble alert. No, dude, that's not what happened, bro. Oh shit. Okay. I didn't mean to interrupt. Y'all good? You want to finish up what y'all chopping up on before we get?
Hey, sorry to cut in, bro, but hey, I'm about to dip out, man.
I already know. Hey, yeah, it's late where you at, bro. Hey, I appreciate you for pulling up, Jamal. I'll hit you tomorrow.
Hey, have a good one, bro.
All right, y'all have a good one, man.
All right, bro.
No, I was gonna say no. I'm good. I was just talking to Mike about. We were just rapping about the whole Chinese automaker getting them to the U.S. market, inflation, as well as export to foreign markets, whether it actually gets here.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, hey, like we said in the video, like you saw in the video, hey, the Ford CEO says, hey, we've got to catch up. I'm like, are you going to catch up on price, or are you just going to kind of
see, Rand, if we really need to do this, we can go back, right? The use case was when GM came out with the EV1 back in 2000. Do you remember that?
EV1, I think so. Yeah,
the EV1 electric car. Mike, you remember that?
I thought that was the 90s.
Late 90s, 2000. What it was that
was 1991.
Oh wow!
No. The EV1 program officially shut down in like 2000, 2001 or something like that. It was because everybody had to lease the car. Now, I think the early adopters had the ability to buy the cars, and so those are the only people that outright own them. There's only but a few people that actually own an EV1 at this point. The rest of them, they had to basically get destroyed. Right? But see, GM had already basically did the use case for an electric vehicle, but dude, back in the late 90s, early 2000s with the EV1. So my problem is that you did a use case, you showed you showed the business viability, you also showed the usability, you hit all the marks, and then you abandoned it because you got pressured by the oil industry, because that's what happened.
Yeah, I was going to ask, were the subsidies there?
Well, the subsidies didn't need to be there at the time, because based on the economy of the time, people didn't have a problem going and buy an electric vehicle. Right? The economy, the inflation, everything was different at that time.
Oh, okay. So you think they could have built it and it could have stood even without the subsidies?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. They had already use cased it. So what happened after that? Like I said, from my understanding, pressure from the oil industries.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. That happened back in the 30s with the trolleys.
It's happened, dude. It's happened so many different times with what they call disruptive technology.
Yeah. The entity or the industry being disrupted basically goes to Congress and lobbies against it.
Right. Okay, so let's do this, man. We got 2 more articles to cover. We're going to shut this down because I'm going to try to go live again in a little bit. I got to cook dinner, and then we're going to try to do this here because I pushed live streams back all weekend, so I need to get these things cracking. Electric scooters, market and size trends. So we're just going to quickly go over this and the e-bike trends, because what I want to do is compare and contrast what it is that we've been covering and what we've been discussing for about the last hour and a half, going on 2 hours, about the EV market, and then let's contrast it to the PEV market, i.e. the micromobility sector. Okay. The global electric scooters market size was estimated at USD $37.7 billion in 2023, and is expected to grow at a compound annual rate of 9.9% from 2023 to 2023. So in short, in layman's terms, basically every year the market will grow 9.9% or basically 10%. Okay, so 37.07 billion dollars last year. This year, a 10% increase in that would be 3.7 billion. So we're talking 40 billion. That's for the e-scooter segment. Remember, I'm separating this e-scooter, e-bike. Okay. So for the e-scooter segment, we're looking at approximately $40 billion for this year, 2024. The increasing demand for fuel efficient vehicles, coupled with growing concerns over greenhouse gas and carbon emissions, is anticipated to drive the adoption of electric scooters over the forecast period. Stringent emission norms by government agencies such as emission standards for greenhouse gas, the GHG emissions by the U.S. Environmental Agency, the EPA, BSV, BSVI in India and China, in India, okay, BSVI in India and China VI is driving the market for electric scooters. Besides, the electric scooters have high mechanical efficiency. I will talk for hours about that. Offers quieter operations and requires low maintenance over the conventional counterparts. Thus, electric scooters are gaining consumer traction in the market. Additionally, the inclusion of electric scooter fleets in shared mobility and vehicle renting ecosystems is propelling the demand for electric scooter growth market. Now, I will say this over here. We've been saying this because we're hands on with it. There is a reduction on the rideshare side and a massive increase on the consumer side, meaning people are opting to not rent scooters as much as they are just looking to buy their own shit at this point. So the consumer market is what is blowing up. This is what we have pivoted to. We got out of rideshare and we're converting all of our old vehicle assets over to consumer and customizing them and making them some pretty cool shit. So what we'll do is let's just look at the graph here. I don't know if I can make okay, no, I can't make this bigger, but I think we can all see it here. 2020 market was at 1.3, 2021 1.4, 2022. Well, they don't have the numbers here, but see, you look at the graph and the trend. It's a 10% growth across the board. U.S. electric scooter market size by product 2020 2030. Okay. So this is what we're looking at here in terms of the PEV market. This is why we called this live stream here the 2024 EV and micromobility. We're analyzing the market here because we're looking at the challenges in the EV market, all of the stuff we just covered here. But when we come over here to the PEV side, electric scooters, electric bikes, you see the growth trajectory. Tesla wasn't getting news like this because if they were, their stock price and all the shit that they're going through right now wouldn't be happening. So I don't want to say the brain trust was right. However, we've been pushing micromobility for quite some time on this platform, and there's been a really good reason for that because we've been hands-on in it since day one. And I say we. Did you guys have any Mike, Ren, did you guys have any comments here before I pull up the e-bike market analysis on that?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask on the scooter angle. I'm assuming that's that can be as much as like what do you call it, for leisure, as well as like these scooters you see around the city, as well as people using them for major forms of one of their primary forms of transportation, to like people actually using them for work, like Uber or something like that, Uber Eats or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mike, do you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I think that I think that scooters are replacing the walk, where it takes too long and too far to walk, and doesn't necessarily require a bicycle or a motorcycle. And so there is that niche market
Hmm.
is that $30 billion plus market. And the
Right.
question is, how do black people tap into that market?
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. Do you have any ideas? What are your thoughts on what you just said there?
Those were my thoughts.
No, I was just saying in terms of you said how or where do black people tap into that?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say here is that
Hmm.
to tap into that market, it's going to require. I mean, most black people live in these sort of urban metropolitan areas where they can actually leverage those sort of vehicles, right? And so
Hmm.
the foldability, the portability of it, I think that that is a viable market. And so to tapping into it is, um, what type of vehicle do black people really want in these predominantly black areas and brown areas? New York City is a very stronghold for right now for micromobility, because you
Yep.
saw them just
Yep.
deploy those the pilot program for charging those vehicles, uh,
I meant
e-bikes and
to.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I meant to
The,
get the article for that one. The
yeah,
hubs that you sent me. Yeah.
yeah, and so you have all of these sort of you know, uh, bike lane infrastructure being deployed in a lot of predominantly black neighborhoods, but black people don't actually own even 1% of that market. And so that was my uh, thoughts on that.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially in light of what it was that you were showing, what's going on over on the continent in Kenya right now, man. It's like the contrast is so great, dude.
Hmm.
You you know, I was talking to you about this on the phone. I'm like, they had a whole like a hangar sized warehouse, whole manufacturing plant. I'm like, bro, how is it that you got people like us in a first world developed nation and we don't have operations like that set up?
They don't have the same level of bureaucracy that we have, right? And so
Hmm.
um, how we look at the market is different than how they look at the market. They look at the market as a necessity. We look at the market from a bureaucratic and leisure
Okay.
standpoint. And
Right.
so I
Okay.
mean, you can have bureaucracy, you can have chaos, but you can't have both. And so, if you have bureaucracy and chaos in your environment, determining your public policy and initiatives, nothing is going to manifest from that. And so, in Africa, what they're doing is so vastly important for them, because they're trying to reach that
Mhm.
zero emissions mark by 2035. And so they're ramping up, and because they have that ability, they're close to the resources, they have the manufacturing capabilities,
Mhm.
and they know the market better than we know our own. So
Okay. I can't argue with that, dude. Because I mean, there's obviously, basically, literally from what's been shown on this channel here. If I was to show my shop versus what's going on in Kenya, dude, I would be embarrassed. I'm saying me personally. I'm like, dude, I ain't got nothing to the likes of which what they're rocking with. And for all the shit about people say, oh, Africa, they don't have this and they don't have this and they have, Shh, please, that's a lie. But let me do this. Let's get into this last article here before we shut it down. 'Cause I got to go make some pesto. All right, e-bike market size. E-bike market size was valued at USD 36.6 billion in 2023 and is estimated to register a CAGR of over 4% between 2024 and 2032. Now, that was with the e-scooter, the last article we read, it was 9.9%. And that largely has to do with the fact that e-scooters have a lower price point. So if somebody has to like choose a PEV, and let's just say money is a consideration, right? you'll typically have people opt for the e-scooter because it's cheaper. Okay. The e-bike, more expensive. You need space to store it, all that kind of stuff. However, depending on what you're getting, it'll get you a lot further. So, um, the thing about it is with the higher price point of e-bikes, you see the market valuation on it, right? In terms of the value is higher. 36.6 billion. That was in 2023. So if you were to add 4% to 36, okay, let me get my head to work here. Okay, 8, 4, 36. Okay. So, okay, 40 billion. Okay, we're talking about an additional 4 billion. No, actually, that's 40 million. I'm sorry. 4%, 40 million. Right, but that's over year to year to year from 2024 to 2032, and we're basing that at $36.6 billion. So let's think about this for a minute. You've got growth on the e-scooter segment, growth on the e-bike segment, and problems on the EV segment.
And the rise of smart cities. So at some point.
You know what, Ren, that'll be for the next live stream.
No, the reason I say that
That's
is
a whole conversation right there, what you just said.
No. The only reason I say that is like if we, in the States, if we have, cities that are laid out better, because if you look at somewhere, I believe it's Sweden, or maybe Denmark, biking is huge there. I mean, kids bike to school, all of that. So if we actually have, we have an infrastructure bill that recently passed. If we actually have, some conscientious thinking and urban planning into some of these cities that are going to turn into, smart cities and mega cities, it makes sense.
All of them. If you were to just kind of see, Ren, here's the thing, right? If you were to just look, and this is why Mike and I will talk a lot about like the civic infrastructure, bike lanes, and all these types of things, right? Because the lanes and all that kind of stuff are the underpinnings of that. So the more cities that start painting in bike lanes, every time they repaint a road, they add a bike lane into it. You basically just gave the underpinnings to the infrastructure, right? From there, it's whatever you're going to throw on top of it. What, any kind of like roadside cameras, or are you going to require people to register a license and all this kind of stuff? Like what Jersey's talking about doing, and fucking California is throwing this crazy shit around. I don't like it. Look, given the growth that we've been talking about in these markets and stuff, okay, we're talking about so from 2023 to 2032, a 9-year span. We're talking about, so no, I was wrong. I said 40. I said 40 million per year. 4%. No, I was wrong. That's 4 billion. Because if you were to add this up right here, you're going from a $36.6 billion market size cap to a 53.1 in a scant 9 years, 2032. So we're looking at growth in the e-bike sector, growth in the e-scooter sector, and problems in the EV sector. And this is kind of what I wanted to sort of frame this live stream about in terms of the analysis on all this EV stuff, because like I said, it'll be very interesting when this bill literally comes out and we get all the particulars. From what my understanding is tomorrow. Tomorrow it's supposed to be signed through. We'll find out what's what. I'm keen to see if any of that affects this market or the e-scooter market, because that's what I'm in. The EV stuff, don't know.
In regards to your point, Renaissance, that's what was in the infrastructure bill. The emergence of bike lanes. I think there's like maybe $1.2 billion in there for like bike lane infrastructure, and so a lot of that money has been already leveraged in a lot of your cities, your major cities, and so you have to roll these things out incrementally in order to get the adoption. Because if you have a complete rollout of these bike lanes across a lot of your major metropolitan hubs, it's not going to be received very well. It has to go through some kind of community hearing first, and then the community has to put their input on it, and then you have to decide, are you going to have class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4 bike lanes. And so all of these things have to be worked in tandem. And so and then you have to also take into consideration, we don't have a place to store all these bikes to begin with, because what happens when people have to dock their bikes on the side of the road, or after they finish using them? Where are they going to put them? We really
Right.
have not rolled out the infrastructure necessary to bring on all of these 1 million plus bicycles that we're e-bikes that we're planning to roll out. And so it has to be carefully thought out.
Right. That's how I've always felt about a lot of this stuff. And just real quick, Jibberjaw was asking, he said, was the Chevy Volt the next step after the EV1? I think it was, because I don't think Chevy came out with another EV until the Volt after the EV1. So I think the Volt was the next electric vehicle after the EV1. I think so, yeah.
And it's wild too, because you got to think about how long the Prius was out before the American car companies really jumped in.
Exactly.
Because for the longest time, you said EV, it was just a Prius. That was it.
Exactly. Or the Leaf, the Nissan Leaf.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
The Prius was more of a hybrid vehicle, not necessarily an EV.
The Leaf was an EV.
Yeah.
Which that's a conversation for another time. But damn, Nissan, they actually use case the small. They use in the US. I think Nissan accomplished use casing the small EV with the Leaf, and I think what screwed Nissan up was the Renault merger. Mike, was it Renault? Renault. They merged with Renault.
Well, 2008 shutdown delayed a lot of these vehicles from coming about, and so the Volt, many of these other vehicles, I would say that Volkswagen kind of got away with the whole Dieselgate thing for quite some time. Those Volkswagens were able to achieve 500, 600 miles of range. EVs couldn't even compete with anything remotely close to that. They were doing maybe 180 to 200 miles at best, and you compare that to a clean diesel Volkswagen.
It was the TDI,
at the time,
right?
Yeah, the TDI. They were going 500, 600 miles in range. There was just nothing.
Wait a minute, dude. They were getting that kind of crazy range
on a Passat. Yeah. 16 to 18 gallon. 16 to 18 gallon tank on a diesel Passat.
Damn.
Yeah, that wasn't uncommon.
Okay. Diesel
works as long as you had the blue fluid in there. But to make it clean. But the problem is it was just too cumbersome for a lot of people. And so I still think diesel has a market. I don't know
Really?
for right now. Yeah, I think diesel still has a market if you can get the the cleaning solution for it. Because those Volkswagens were very competitive to an EV in terms of their range, because range anxiety is what kept a lot of people from buying EVs in the first place. It didn't go far enough. But when you start talking about diesel, a lot of guys I work with in IT, they still held on to their Volkswagens. They never turned them in. And so, the DEF. Yeah, thank you, Faber. DEF. And so that is what, if you combine diesel with electric, that's a whole different animal in itself. Now you're talking 750 to 800 miles to the gallon.
Well,
Mike, don't you get don't you run into the environmental environmental issue with a diesel?
No.
No, you do. You still put out a lot of carbon, but that was supposed to be the point of the DEF filter.
Well, I was gonna say.
Okay.
That's the whole thing, dude. So you gotta see, they always use case this shit in motorsport, before it goes to production, if it makes it to production. Okay, so before they went to the new hypercar regulations and the WEC, the World Endurance Challenge, the FIA World Endurance Challenge, right? Before they did that, bro, they were running like some of the like literally the craziest type of hybrid systems you could run on a race car, and they were turbo diesel hybrid. Okay, and so what happens here is through a sophisticated electronic control system, right? You're going to use, so okay, how do I say this? You're going to use the diesel engine to charge batteries to use the electric motor when you don't need to actually be using the diesel engine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's the same thing, basically. Same concept as the hybrids we have now, except instead of ice, a gas engine, you're going to be using the diesel engine.
But it works actually a little bit different, right? Because see, so your modern day trains, for example, are diesel electric.
Yep.
Okay. See, so what happens here is that there's a time where the diesel engine actually propels the vehicle, and then at a certain point, it doesn't. It actually just is used for energy generation, so it's operated at a way lower level. So what happened with you get to a point of means usage. You get what I mean?
Okay, I got you. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I was gonna.
that's what yeah, so they do the diesel electric with like submarines, they do it
Yep.
with trains, they do it with like cargo ships.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about cargo ships as well too.
Cargo ships too.
Um,
Yeah.
no, I do remember Mike. It's funny. I had a coworker. He was this big guy, but he drove a VW Bug, and it was a diesel. And it was the first time I had seen, because I always associated diesels with like the what was it, the older ones, and I want to say didn't Volvo have diesels at one point?
Yeah, I think all European car
All European
manufacturers
cars,
had
yeah.
had a diesel. BMW, Mercedes.
Yeah. So I always
Yeah.
associated with the older cars, and then when he was driving around in this, this VW Bug that was a diesel, I was like, oh, this is a stereo. Like I said, he was a big dude too. That was the first time I saw that, and he had it until he got someone rear-ended him and totaled it, but he would have kept
Well,
driving it.
yeah, because on the East Coast, you got to remember. Well, I shouldn't say the East Coast, but in New England, a lot of people live in New Hampshire, drive into Massachusetts to work. And so you're talking about putting 50, 60 miles round
Wow.
trip per day. If you have
Per
to come to
day.
work 5 days a week, then you're talking
Oof.
about what, 200, 300, 400 plus miles a week. And so
Yep.
what are you going to be doing, in regards to fuel efficiency? The diesel at the time was the most fuel efficient um, engine you can get on the market. And so, if Tesla, the Tesla Model S didn't compare to that. That was, 180 miles to it in range. That wasn't enough for someone to get around per week. And plus, you didn't have charging infrastructure in place. And so, what are you going to do? And so,
Yeah,
it made a
same
lot of
thing.
sense.
Yeah, he was commuting. That makes perfect sense because his commute was about an hour each way, and he was living way up in like North Georgia, so it wasn't just traffic that was holding him down. He was probably driving about 40, 50 miles each way.
Now, if you guys check the the catalog here, when we did the Old World EV live stream, maybe about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So I went into covering Rudolph Diesel, and when him developing the diesel engine at the turn of the 20th century.
Yeah.
And what that did for the power generation sector, right? Because of just like the type of industrialization that was going on at the time, like your steam engines and stuff like that. They had use, they had application, they had their limitations as well, right? And it was Rudolph Diesel's diesel engine. He's French, by the way. So for those of y'all who know, Rudolph Diesel was French, and that this is a French invention. However, his energy source, peanut oil, came from George Washington Carver. We covered that in that live stream. So this is how a lot of this stuff ties in, because what he needed was a cheap fuel source, Number one, that was what he needed. He needed a cheap fuel source. George Washington Carver gave him one: peanut oil. Okay. Two, what he needed to do was have the reliability of a steam engine. Now, who created the reliability components or the reliability aspect in steam engines? That was Nathaniel McCoy, aka the real McCoy. See, so he pioneered the oiling systems for steam engines and what have you, right? But when we went into a contained fuel, like when we went into a contained energy market with regards to like engines and what have you, so that we could start quantifying per ounce, per gallon of peanut oil, per fuel, what have you, right? Then you can commodify all the shit on the markets and all that. So once you're able to do that, then what you want to know is, can the engine, how much power can I generate out of this, right? What is the maximization points? See, this is where you start to get into your actuaries and your tables and all this, right? This type of engine will produce this power output per this input of energy, and then per that we can say, okay, there's a market for this, and then we can just do the same thing with other engine and fuel combinations, and then we can make these market segments and all that. And with diesel, they looked at diesel as a technology. You can make it small and you can make it big. You could do either way and get the relative ratio of output per the cc's, if you will, right? The cubic centimeters of the engine. So a 50 cc, 100, 125, 150, 250, 350, 650, 1000. Then you get into your liter sizes: 1.3 liters, 1.6, 2 liters, right? Now these are your car engines and all this, right? See, so you can calculate and you can make tables and all this kind of shit. And this is sort of like the thought behind industrialization at the turn of the 20th century. So without going too deep into it, I would just, if you guys check out the Old World EV live stream that we did, we talk about the whole Rudolph diesel thing, because let's not talk about when you slap a turbocharger onto a diesel engine, a TDI, turbo diesel injection, right? A turbo diesel increases the output of an engine by what, 40%, 50% in some regards, Mike? Depending on how you have it all set up. He dropped off. Okay. So, that's kind of why this can get in, this can go into a whole other conversation, but we want to just put this all out here. These are how the markets are being analyzed. And what's happening right now is there is a push for the electrification of transportation. So we need to take a really nuanced look at it, if you will.
Yeah, it's interesting too what you said about electric, diesel electric, because that makes me almost wonder too, why isn't there more push just to go in that direction? Because with diesel, you have the infrastructure, or like you said, the DEF as well too, to try to find more efficiency there. If you can, because then you're left with the problem of, hey, can we just minimize? Because the real push for EV is like, hey, you're worried about climate change and the amount of carbon you're putting out. But if you have, like you said, DEF there to offset that, then you're not tagged with this whole infrastructure, upgrade and change to electrification, which is going to be super expensive. Because you pretty much have diesel at most gas stations right now.
Yeah,
it's just you'd have to make it more numerous versus putting in chargers everywhere, and people having them in their home. So it'll be because I know it'll be interesting too if that still becomes niche, even if electrification does become that way. Because I'm like, when you look at people who, I'm sure you consider yourself probably a gearhead.
Totally.
I'm sure there's still, an EV still, there's nothing that compares to, it's an internal combustion or a diesel engine or, in that regard, especially in the tuning scene, I would imagine. Or
they're both, they have their things, right?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you right now, an internal combustion engine cannot beat the output of an electric motor. I'm talking about in terms of torque,
Oh yeah. Yep.
acceleration, and all that.
Correct. Yep.
I'm sorry. Like if you want seat of the pants type shit, it's not gonna. It can be in a big loud V8 and all that, but I'll tell you right now, an electric motor will eat that alive.
Yep. No,
especially if we start talking axial flux motors and all these new exotic type electric motor systems that they're putting into these hypercars and shit.
Yeah, but and maybe it's just me, and maybe it's just I know I was talking to one guy who's deep in the car scene I work with, who's an engineer, and he was just saying like, because I saw a video I think of like a Cybertruck racing a Porsche, and it was like, yeah, obviously your Cybertruck wins in this short track, but it's like, you know, it's a Porsche, like it's just, you know, the whole driving experience of, you know, the engine, the sound, the way it grips, you know, it handles, it's a different experience.
That's what I mean, man. All of this is all new, right? I think there was a novelty. Well, okay, there's a certain novelty when it comes to like cars like Teslas, right? Or some of these like the Hyundai Iconic. They have some real sexy electric. Mercedes, the EQS, very sexy. My lady friend she has one, right? Very sexy cars. Not exactly the most practical thing, right?
Yeah, the EQS is the sedan, right?
Yes, the sedan.
Yep.
It's like the E300, or I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I was just making sure.
Based on like the 300 series, I think.
Yeah, it's like the electrified version of it.
Yeah, it's the electrified version of that, and it's sexy, man. But you know, it's for those who have the money and the means, and just they want it, right? There's not much practicality, and I think that's the problem with the EV segment. And the articles that we covered earlier here about China coming in with $10,000 electric cars actually argue for a use case for electric cars because of the affordability, right?
Yep.
If they actually serve a utility so it's cost analysis once again,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, because
So
I was
we have
talking to
to-
my friend about
yeah.
like, I mean, because truth be told, when you look at something like Rivian, you would think it's not too much better price than the Chevy and Ford trucks.
No, they're not.
Yeah, fully electric. So I'm just kind of
Yeah.
like, and the same thing with the tax credits. Like I was talking to a friend, he was like, "Yo, I don't want a tax rebate. I want the cost off up front." Like, you know, people are not.
Yeah,
willing
you got to get it on the back end, right? You got to get your money on the back end.
Yep. Or it's like you got to get it through the use. Hey, no oil changes and all these, like through over the useful life, like you said, on the back end, or even at the end of the year if you're looking at a tax credit.
Mhm.
So to your point, once you start putting people down and there's a cost use case, I think that makes it a lot more viable. Which is why that whole I was really talking to Mike about of hey whether that Chinese company can really get to the States, because I'm like, if people are complaining about inflation and car prices, and I mean car prices went crazy. I think the average car is around like 40 grand now or something like that. New car.
Yeah, it's stupid right now.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
The
it's crazy.
The car market is just crazy.
Yeah, but people,
It
people
doesn't
keep
make
buying.
sense why it's so expensive, to be honest with you. Because I said it doesn't make sense why it's so expensive because the car
People
market
get paying
is
for it.
flooded. There's a glut of cars. Supply and demand. If there's an oversupply, you would think that it'd be cheap, right?
Yep.
Why are cars expensive? And there's so many available.
And people are keeping them too. That's the other thing. The average car I think is like 12 years old.
Yeah, because the thing about it is that like older cars last longer, basically.
Yeah.
The
Newer
older
ones are
your
more
car is, the
expensive to
longer it's
repair.
gonna last, and the newer your car is, the sooner it's gonna fucking crap on you. It sucks to say that, but
More expensive to repair, more computers,
everything.
so less do yourself.
Yeah. So
Nah.
it's just this is just, I don't know. We're just kind of in a transition period, right? And if you want my opinion, I'm pretty sure Mike V, he shares the same opinion. PEVs is where it's at. If you got a good working vehicle, hold on to it, maintenance it, take care of it, keep it, right? If you're gonna buy new vehicles in the future, get you some PEVs, e-bikes, e-scooters. Get you a few of them, different kind, different because they don't cost that much.
Yep.
They have high utility. Okay, it reduces the maintenance on your traditional vehicle, so it lasts longer. Zone say get a non-hybrid. You know what, dude? Non-hybrid, hybrid. I don't care either one. Right, in terms of a car. But look, if you reduce your use on your traditional vehicles by supplanting that with use of a PEV, then you reduce the maintenance costs on your car. You reduce the wear and tear on your car. See, do you get how the economies kind of work if we factor in different variables?
Yeah, and the other thing is too, like I rode an e-bike when I was in Europe. It was a fun experience. Like I was doing an e-bike tour of Basel in Switzerland. I mean, it's one of the coolest things I've ever done.
Nice.
Like very, very easy to ride, easy to stop, very integrated where you can ride through the city. I definitely want to buy one here. I've already got regular mountain bike. So that's probably what I want to do later this year. Buy an e-bike.
You could. I was gonna say either that or you could just do a conversion, bro.
Well, I won't both, kind of. Yeah.
Do a conversion, shit, and buy a bespoke, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, like I said, it was a really cool experience, just being able to do it. And like I said, DC people bike as well, but not as much. I know like Seattle, West Coast, you have people that actually bike to work.
Yeah, it's heavy, dude. Like especially right now with the weather the way it is. Yeah, we're going hard body out here.
Oh, really? Even Cali people are doing that.
Oh yeah, especially right now. Now dude, we've been in the 90s the last few days, and we're about to be in the 90s for the next few days. So man, let me tell you, I've been out.
Yep.
I've been out on the scoot, out on the e-bike, all that stuff, man. Hey, but look, I need to go and get some din together. I actually kind of ran over a little bit longer than I thought. My daughter's like, "What's up with the pesto?"
I hear you.
So I gotta go do that.
Yeah, but
man, any final thoughts, bro? On the topic and anything?
No, great stream. Great stream. Perfect timing. Like I said, glad to talk about this. Definitely got to go do some reading up, and keep following this. I definitely want to keep following the Tesla story too, because I got a friend at work who's always
like follow the Tesla stuff, man. There's so many moving parts to the Tesla story right now.
Yeah,
that's why I'm kind of glad I may put this live stream off till today, because there's been so much stuff in the news feed about all this. And then when Mike texted me this morning, or we were talking over the weekend, and then I saw something on my feed from Electrico about the Biden bill that he's going to sign tomorrow.
Yep.
And I said, holy shit.
Yeah, I got to look into that too.
It said batteries. It didn't go into specifics, so the bill will have specifics tomorrow, because really what I'm trying to do is see if it's this general lithium-ion cells, if it's packs for e-bike. I need to know specifics, man.
Yeah.
I need to know if I gotta increase my prices.
No, I'll definitely keep an eye on that too. Yeah, one of my coworkers is always asking me about stocks and Tesla. We're always going back and forth about the company, and seeing people basically, because Elon was in this position a few years back of people trying to short his company again, and he kind of got
that one guy. He was famous for trying to short him.
Yeah. He seems like he dodged that bullet, but I don't know how long he can keep the magic up. So
we'll see.
He
dodged that bullet, but I think he put himself literally in the line of fire for some other ones. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, but hey, man, I'll catch you later.
Okay, bro. Hey, Ren, I appreciate you for pulling up, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Take it easy, bro. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and shut it down. This was a nice little chop up. You got our 2024 industry analysis and future trends on the EV, automotive, and micromobility sectors. I mean, I really didn't have to tell you much, man. You saw the kind of bread the e-scooter and e-bike segment is pulling in versus some of the challenges that the EV sector is looking at. And we're going to find out what Biden has in store and in plan for all this shit. Supposedly, allegedly tomorrow. So maybe once this all drops, I'll do a quick addendum to this live stream, and we can kind of peruse and browse about what the bill has to say, and See, it's how it's gonna hit our pockets. Let's just say. All right. Zone, you said I think it's only EV battery, not other things, bro. I sure freaking hope so. There's been so much vague shit about this. We don't have particulars, dude. I'm hearing a whole bunch of stuff, bro. So I need to know for certain. So I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Nagon, you said great stream. I appreciate you. And for those of y'all that don't know, Nagon is the consigliere. Okay? The consigliere. So y'all know. All right. Shout out to Nagon. Okay. All right. Please, everyone, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Share this. We'll be like I said. We're gonna come back probably tomorrow. When we drop this bill, we're gonna go back in. We're gonna see what they're talking about, man, because it's on and popping out here in these streets, in these EV streets. Okay, you guys have a good one, man. Peace.